Well, hi everybody. It's Jan McDonough here from Explosive Power, and we're going to be making a little bit of candy today. Now, I realize that you probably know a lot of candy recipes already, and you probably have a lot of ideas for doing different things. And, that's awesome. Here might just be a couple tips or tricks that maybe you haven't picked up. My hope is that you find something that I'm doing today that will maybe make a difference for you at some upcoming parties or events. Just an excuse to get people together. This morning I saw this really, oh, you're so cute, Tracy. This morning I saw this amazing little invitation for getting people together and going over some toys and this and that. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do that this week because it's the last week of our Record Breaker month. So I'm going to do that this week. I'm going to invite the neighbors over. So I'll go around and hand out some things to the neighborhood. I actually had someone tell me last week, well, I saw your car, but I've been waiting on you to come over with a catalog. And I'm like, oh, it said no soliciting in the neighborhood. So I assumed that I shouldn't do that. But since I'm being asked, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go out and invite some neighbors over. And I thought, gosh, maybe I should make some fun candy or treats this week for that party. So that's what I'm doing. And so I decided I would just go ahead and share it with you. So I just want to show you a few things that I got going on here. Let me see if I can angle this down a little. So I found these cool little jiggly eyes. Can you see these? Whoops. Can you see these jiggly eyes and things? Well, they're not really jiggly. They're candy is what they are. And so, a couple of fun things that we can do with this. Like in this, the current candy silicone form that we have, this one has a little dimple to it. So I actually just put the little eyeballs down in there, upside down. So the little eyeballs on top. And let me show you, these are some of them that I've already made like that. Like, check that out. Isn't that fun? Oh my gosh, so I thought this is a perfect kind of treat. Now, some of my eyeballs got a little warped while I was doing it, but some came out really, really fun. Some of the long ones, I hid a piece of candy corn in it, again, just for fun. Here's some more eyeballs. So I just kind of had a good time with it. Now, I've seen some people do different layers with these as well. Like they put some chocolate in first and then sprinkled some coconut on it. Oh, and I think I forgot to get my coconut out. But and then you'll also see I've got some different colors. Most of the colored ones I found are vanilla flavored. And then, of course, the chocolate ones, you can get anything from dark chocolate, light chocolate, salted caramel, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's so many different kinds. But I just thought it was kind of great just to have a little bit of fun with it. And I just think the little eyeballs are, kind of fun. Kind of just a fun idea. So that's what I was kind of playing with. And then I also mixed some colors together. Now, to get the different colors, of course, you can melt your white chocolate bark. And you can just use food coloring, wherever that little jar went. You can just use some food coloring, and you can put that in your white almond bark and do the same kind of thing. I actually went and got some of the little candy discs, and you've probably seen these at the grocery store. You can get them at like a Hobby Lobby, a Michael's, even at Walmart's and Target's. And some of those types of stores. I'm not sure what you guys have in Canada, but I know that there's a lot of places that you can pick some of these up. So, and as I said, even though they're different colored, the ones that I found were all vanilla flavored. So that's real neutral. Now, you could just take your white chocolate bark. If you wanted to add different flavors, you could probably add some peppermint extract or some different things like that. Now, I did find some that say candy cane, and these are, in fact, peppermint flavored. And they are kind of yummy, too. And I had a couple of those out here. I have too many candies on my counter. Here they are. These are some of the peppermint. They're just peppermint forms, and I just put them in the form and popped them right out. They're so easy. So what you could use is You can actually use your Tupperwave, your stack cooker system, if that works, you know, if that's something that you have, this will work great for it. Also, a while back, we had some of these, kind of like a microwave pitcher. And I like using this one a lot when I'm doing a large quantity, and it has the spout. And then, of course, we also have our micro pitchers, which if you're melting like a tablespoon of butter, it's easy to put that on top, pop it in your microwave. Or if you're doing a larger quantity, you could just do it in reverse. If you're just melting the little candy discs, you don't really even have to cover it. All you want to do there is just make sure that you're doing it at 50% power. Things like this, the candy can be a little more sensitive than a lot of the other things that we make. So when you're doing these at 50% power, you're gonna find that it will melt slower and more evenly. The other thing that you find with chocolate is when you put it in to melt it, it doesn't really change form. Like these are a couple pieces of chocolate from that I have from one of my almond barks that I got. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these into my pitcher, and I'm gonna pop these in the microwave, and then I'm gonna show you what I mean. They don't really change forms. You just pop that in real quick. Because I've been moving, I moved from one house to another. Every microwave is a little bit different. And this microwave has a real different style to it, how you do the power levels. So the 50% off has kind of been a little bit of or 50% power has kind of been a little bit of a challenge for me, but we're making progress. Okay. So so while that's melting, I'm going to show you a couple other things that I like to do. I really love making candy. I love making caramel corn. I love making peanut brittle. The most important thing I can say to you when you're making candies is you can't just hang around and take your time doing different things. You got to be just a little bit more aggressive when you're doing the candies, because it can harden and set up on you really, really quick. Ooh, I just found another one. Look, I've got dark cocoa in here. That one will be kind of yummy too. Ooh, that's fun. Okay, let's take a peek here. Again, the 50% power really matters, but this is what we've got right now. And it's only been a minute, so as you can see, some of it is starting to melt, but not all of it. Even though it doesn't look like it did anything, it has started the melting process. So I'm going to go 50% power, probably one more minute, and then it's going to be ready for me to use. Now, a while back, we had a chance to earn this spatula. This has become my favorite candy spatula. I just love it. Here's me trying to figure out how to use my own microwave, right? There. Okay. All right. Now while that one's cooking, I'm going to show you, because I can do this. I take 2 pretzel sticks, okay? I don't know, can you see that far away? I'm going to take 2 pretzel sticks, and I'm going to arrange them on my silicone form. I'm just going to arrange them maybe just about a ½ inch apart. Lay some of these out so you'll be able to watch me do this. Now, I also like to use Melba toast, but I forgot to pick that up at the store. So just for the view of it, I'm going to use a couple of the twisted pretzels, and we're going to pretend like they're Melba toast, okay? Do you know what Melba toast is? Those little round toasty things. So we're going to just pretend like these are those toasts. I'm going to need some yellow M&Ms. I've already separated. And I'm going to need some green M&Ms. So let me see. I'm going to use 2 per pretzel. 2 per pretzel. So there's my 2 there. There's 2, 4, 6, and 2 more is 8. Okay. So I'm going to use 2 of these per pretzel, and wait till you see. I don't know, maybe you've seen this one before, but I know everybody kind of gets oops, overdone my chocolate. Okay, this is what you don't want to do. So you definitely want to be, can you see it's actually burnt? Sorry, I have extra dogs here this weekend. Okay, so that was way too much. And it actually smells burnt. Oh, what a great example. Like I said, I'm learning my new microwave, and that didn't work out so well. So I could just delete it and start you all over, but you know what? It is what it is. Oh shoot, now I need some more white. And let me find where my white one is. Okay, well, I just have some white candy melt, so we're gonna use this real quick instead. I gotta show you my special little treat here. So I'm gonna just put some of the white candy melts in, just like I would the white almond bark. And I know I have more white almond bark, but I've already wasted some of your time because I'm not sure how the microwave works. Wow, this was really, really hot. So I'm gonna watch it really much closer, just in case I have an issue again. I'm just gonna watch it and make sure nothing happens. So what I'm actually making here, now, you know, the pretzels are another thing, the twisted pretzels, they're another thing that you can use. And you can put them on a silicone tray, like, let me grab some more twisties. I've got another one of these. This one I think I got on when we took the Tupperware trip, the Great European Getaway, and where they made us gold bars with the resins at Tupperware. But what you could do with the little twisted pretzel is, you might have heard this one before, you put the little Rolo on top of it. The Rolo is just a candy. This is what it's going to be called. If you can get them in a roll, they're easier. When you get them in a bag like this, you have to take the foil off of each individual one, and that's a little bit of a time pain in the drain. But you know, we can make it work. We can work with anything, right? So okay, let me just check it. I can keep my close eye on it, like I said I would. Okay, we're making, now this is just, they're called bright white, and they're just those candy discs as well. But I think I'm gonna just kind of make sure, I think if I stir it enough, it feels like it's breaking down nice. They still look in their same form when you first take them out. So that's what gets to be, and then when it's like, oh, it's not done all the way, you know, that whole microwave standing time and whatnot, as I'm stirring it, it's actually melting, so you can probably see that going on. Well, hi, Carol Ann. Can't wait to see. Can't wait to see what? Oh, what I'm going to do with my pretzels? Okay, I'm going to show you here. So what I'm going to do is, I told you they're about a ½ inch apart. Oh, I don't have my gloves on yet. I usually almost always wear gloves because I'm going to be feeding people with my candy. And so, other than just my husband and I, so I want to make sure I get that taken care of. Okay, so I've got my 2 little, it works better with almond bark, I will tell you that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is put 2 yellow M&Ms, and you know what that is? That's eggs and bacon. Who wants some eggs and bacon when they're actually little treats? These are just fun little things that you can do when, you know, some of the kids' parties or the little baking set that we have. Some of this can really be a lot of fun. And so we're just making some eggs and bacon. And some of you probably have some little ones that would love to help you. And there's really no effort to it. There's nothing fancy that you have to do. You just plop some of the chocolate right on, blip, 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 depending on how much you want, and put in my little M&Ms on. So there we have our eggs and bacon. Now, remember I said these were going to be like our little Melba toast? Okay, so this is our Melba toast, and what we're going to do with our little Melba toast, because it's a little round thing, right? What's it kind of look like? If you think about a piece of Melba toast, doesn't it look like a little round circle of ham? Wouldn't you agree? It kind of looks like a little piece of ham. Well, what we're going to do with these is we are going to make, okay, we are going to make green eggs and ham for Dr. Seuss, right? So think about that little outside part as a piece of ham, because the Melba toast looks just like ham. You're probably not going to get quite the same visual doing it this way, but you get the idea, so you know to get some Melba toast. And if you find something else that works great, that's good too. Yum. Okay, so that's just a couple of fun little things. That is pretty good. Okay, that's just a couple of fun little things that you can do getting started. So, some other things that you can do when you're melting down your almond bark is, let me come over here. I have so much stuff out because I'm playing today. How about a pretzel log? Like, this is no secret and everybody has already done this. But you just take your pretzel log. Now, you can also, the other piece of Tupperware that you can use, if you don't have like the measuring pitchers or the stack cooker, or maybe you're doing something else with your stack cooker, then maybe you want to use your vent and serve. And you can do that as well because it all is Tupperware and they can all handle that. You just want to watch your chocolate again, as you saw already. It can be very sensitive. So I like to get the excess off. And of course, when we put it on our silicone mat, it'll peel right back off. And I don't think I brought any of my sprinkles up yet, so we don't have any sprinkles yet. I could put some candy eyes and some candy corn onto my little pretzel log here. What do you think? That makes it a little more festive for Halloween. Now you can also get little candy spiders and gummy worms, and you know, there's a bunch of those kind of things that you can do too. So if you're trying to just make some holiday kind of treats, that would work. I also have some pieces of candy corn here, so we're just going to decorate a little bit, and we can make it a little bit of a Halloween holiday treat. What do you think? Do you like that idea? Okay, so that gives you a couple there. I'm going to go ahead and finish filling this up with the ones that I've already, I think I've unwrapped 9. Because I had to go look for some keys, so I got a little distracted for a little bit, but I think we're good now. So we're going to pop these in. We're going to put this in the microwave. Now, you can put it on a cookie sheet. I might as well do that last hole, right? You can put them on a cookie sheet and put them in the oven for a little bit if you want to turn on your oven. Kind of depends on what the temperature is outside, whether I want to turn on the oven or not. And we're just having a beautiful sunny day. Now these can be tricky carrying them to the microwave, but what you're going to be able to do is just put this directly in. Now the microwave that I have at this house is much smaller. Oops, there I dumped them. Is much smaller than the ones I've had. What I really like to do is put the silicone form in the cover to the cover of the lasagna pan, because our silicone forms fit perfect in the cover of the lasagna pan. So I'm going to take you down and let you have a closer peek at some of my goodies here. So you see what I mean? We got some eggs and bacon. We got some green eggs and ham. We can play with the little pretzel logs there and come up with some ideas. So just kind of fun and different things you can do. And then, as I said here, we're just going to put the little eyes in there. And I melt the different colors just because it makes it look a little bit more festive. So they have such a variety of different colors of the candy. So we're going to put this aside. Now, I don't know how many of you know that you can, I think we're melting. Oh my goodness, this microwave is just way too hot. So we melted a little more than we needed to, as you can see. And what we're going to do is try to get that one back up on the pretzel. Oh my goodness, this microwave is really hot. And I've been here a couple months, and I've had a challenge with a couple things, but goodness, it's really doing the candy just way overheating it. So I'm going to have to really be careful. And that's another thing too. If you go to different people's houses and you were trying, doing this at their homes, gosh, you might want to just try it, just watch it a little closer than what I'm doing, because you don't want to spoil it when you're at a guest's house. But everybody's microwave is a little bit different. And so some are going to heat up faster, some are going to heat up less fast. So I'm going to wait until those cool and take them off. But as you know, these are what they call turtles. They're just the quickie version of making some turtles. So another one of my favorite things to do. Okay, I'm trying something new here. Let me grab my popcorn out. Cheryl said, and we all know if Cheryl says it, it's gospel, right? If Cheryl says it. So she said, put your popcorn in the freezer and every kernel will pop. So I'm just going to put that to the test right now. I'm going to take now I know you've heard not to make popcorn in your stack cooker, but I will tell you that if you're just using the kernels and you put 1/3 of a cup of kernels in, and then you put it in the microwave for 3 minutes. You don't put oil, you don't put butter, you don't put anything else in there. And we're going to put this in the microwave for 3 minutes. What am I putting on top of the Rolo? Oh, did I forget to tell you? It's a half a pecan. It's a half a pecan. Pecan, however you want to say it. It's just a half a pecan that you press down on the top. And that's what they say gives it the little turtle look. Okay? They just don't look as pretty because my microwave overheated them. Okay, so I've got 1/3 of a cup of popcorn in. No oil, no butter, no anything. Just the kernels. And I'm going to put it in the microwave for 3 minutes. My 3 quarts from the stack cooker and the cover. And I'm going to put it in the microwave for 3 minutes, and I'm going to kind of listen, especially today because it's cooking like crazy. I'm going to put it in the microwave for 3 minutes and then listen that last minute. When the popping starts to slow down, then you got to stop. Then you just got to stop the microwave and let it sit for a couple minutes. And what we're actually going to make, there is caramel corn. And I love caramel corn. And it's probably the most dangerous thing for me to have in my house. So I'm going to have to let some other people eat it after I make it, because I'll just sit here and eat the whole thing at once without even thinking about it. So, okay, I'm going to set these little guys aside over here. And this little group aside over here. Good thing I got a big counter, huh? All right. Oh, I have to show you something else I did last night. Now, I haven't finished them, but I melted the marshmallows with the butter. I did the butter first. Butter about 30 seconds. Then I added the marshmallows, did a minute, stirred, went in for another minute, stirred again. And then I put green food coloring in the marshmallows. And then I used corn flakes instead of Rice Krispies. And I used our silicone donut mold, and I made these little mini wreaths. Now what I need to do is get my get out my new decorator pen, and I can make like a little bow on here. I can make a little bow with the red decorator pen, or I can use some Red Hots to make a little, just to put some on to make it look like holly, or I could actually use some licorice. Some red licorice strings. So they're just like little wreaths. I've always done this in the gel ring mold and made a bigger one. What I did in pressing these into the donut one is I had to press down a little bit, but they still look kind of leafy. I don't have as much, they were old marshmallows. I was just kind of playing with them. And so I could tell that they didn't create as much fluff. But they're just for decoration anyway. So I'm letting them get hard, and then I can store them until it's holiday, till it's Christmas time that I want to put them out. for some fun. So that's just another idea that you can do. I actually have used my banana bread recipe, and instead of putting it in loaf pans, I put them in here. And people are like, oh my gosh, I need the recipe. These are so good. And you know what? Oh my gosh, it's just a banana bread recipe, and I put it in a different shape. And they all think I did something like was a miracle. So I don't even get it. But anyway, Hansa, shush. I'm babysitting 2 extra dogs, so I really apologize. But it was my week, my turn to do the training today, so here I am. So we are going to be, as we've got the corn is popping, and we are going to be making the caramel topping to go on it. Now what I find is when I'm doing it at a party, I like to do everything in the same 3-quart of the stack cooker. Now you can make it in, any of these other pieces as well. Let me see how we did. It's my first time with having my popcorn in the freezer. Woo! And it's hot. Ooh, it might have even overcooked a little bit. Okay, well, we won't notice it because it's going to be covered in caramel. Yep, there's a little bit overcooked. So I should have listened closer. See, I'm teaching you everything today what not to do, right? What is just this microwave is a little overwhelming. Okay, so when I can do everything in the same container, they're gonna see that we're using less things that have to be cleaned up when we're done. So where is my candy corn recipe? And my caramel corn. Oh, this isn't my good one. Fine. Oh, I was gonna get it on my phone, and guess what? You guys are there on my phone. Let me pop it in here. I just put it out here recently, so I should have it right here handy. There is a recipe you guys might have seen. These little booklets, have you seen these? And in here are all kinds of wonderful, quick, easy little recipes. And they come 4 to a page. You can just cut them apart and have them stapled. One of our gals, I was so impressed, one of our gals actually took this and she copied them front and back on cardstock. Then she put a hole punch in it and then attached one of our keychains. What a lovely little gift for everyone attending your candy party, right? Your candy class. Wouldn't that be a great little gift? So that's what she did. She had them copied front to back, punched a hole. It was cardstock, and then put the keychain in there. But there's a lot of really good ones. Now, the recipe that's in here is really, really yummy, but it does use a larger quantity. It does like a double batch of popcorn to the topping. So hang on just a second. I know I've got it here. Okay, I lied. Okay, give me just a second to find it. I can post this for you guys, this whole booklet if you want, and I can put it all in there. The popcorn I put in for 3 minutes. But I would say, again, I normally do 1/3 cup to 3 minutes in the microwave. That's what I typically do. It's just this microwave runs a little bit hot. So you have to, it is today anyway. So you have to really listen to it. You have to really listen to it to be able to know when it starts to slow down and get it out before there's any burning going on. So I put the popcorn in for 3 minutes, and I did take my popcorn out of the freezer because Cheryl said every kernel will pop when I take it out of the freezer. So, okay, I was just trying to see if there's any other questions. Oh, red M&Ms. I saw what? Rudolph's nose. Cute. I like that. I like that. Tracy, that's a great idea. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this is, my recipe calls for a bag of microwave popcorn. This is more than probably a bag would give us. I don't know if you can see it from down there, but it does look like all of the kernels did pop. So Cheryl was right again with keep your popcorn in the freezer. So that's a really great idea. Okay, so now I need a quarter. I'm gonna melt my butter and then add the brown sugar and the corn syrup. And for this one, the butter, I need a half a stick. So I didn't even, where's my butter? Where's my butter? There. It's usually right there. Brian's been doing some amazing cooking around here, and he might have used some of that butter that was up there, so good deal. Okay, so I need a half a stick. Grab one of my Tupperware knives, and I'm going to go about, that's maybe a little, there we go. Okay, so there's a half a stick. We're going to just pop this in real quick for gosh, in this microwave, it probably won't take more than 30 seconds to melt that butter down. Now what we're going to add on top of the butter is a half a cup of packed light brown sugar. So I'm trying to figure out which container I want to keep my brown sugar in. I had it in an oval too because that worked perfectly in my last house, but it doesn't work so great in the cabinets here. So now I've moved it into a Modular Mate Rec 1, and I'm not sure I like this either because it just feels like it's too exposed. There's, it just feels like it doesn't feel right. So I might try like a square 2 is something that I might try next. So there I've got my half a cup of light brown sugar packed in there. And look at that. In 30 seconds, the butter's melted. So that kind of means, hey! Sorry guys, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna dump this right in on top of that butter. So that's our brown sugar part. Then we're also gonna add 2 tablespoons of light corn syrup. This is my baking drawer, in case you couldn't tell. So 2 tablespoons of the, stay on, light brown corn syrup. And it says to add the corn syrup, and it wants me to add a little bit of salt, but it looks like this butter is salted, so I'm not going to add any extra salt because the corn syrup's already salted, so that probably should take, or not the corn syrup, the butter is salted, so that should take care of it for me. So there we go, scooping that out. Okay, now I'm going to get a new spatula for this. And so all I've got here is the brown sugar, the butter, and the corn syrup. And I'm just gonna mix this up. And then I think it's gonna have me put it back in the microwave again. So I'm gonna put it in the microwave for about a minute and check it. And it'll probably be another minute and check it again. So that's how it looks all mixed up. Hopefully you can see that. Then my baking soda. This is the special part. Hello, everybody joining us. Thank you for coming on. We're only going to use a quarter of a teaspoon, but we have to wait a little bit longer before we do that. So we're going to stir it. It's in there for a minute on high. We're going to stir it. Then we're going to put it back in for another minute and stir it. And it might be done at that point, or if we go any longer, it will just be for maybe 15 to 30 seconds. But with the quarter of a teaspoon, I believe. So you've got your microwave popcorn, or your popcorn like I just did in the stack cooker. I used 1/3 of a cup, 3 minutes on high, no oil, no butter, no anything, just kernels. So it's like air pop popcorn. So it's like healthy popcorn, right? That's the way I look at it anyway. And then we're gonna use, we melted a half a stick of butter, a half a cup of packed light brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of corn syrup, and salt, which I use salted butter instead of adding the salt. And then we're going to stir it, and we're going to add a little baking soda in the end right before we put the popcorn back in. Oh my goodness, this microwave cooks fast. And you want to try to, as you're stirring it, you want to do it rather aggressively, and you want to also do your best to get it to blend. I don't know if you can see well enough what I got going on there, but you want to try to get it to blend as much as you can, because the butter will always try to separate, and that's why you're heating it up with the butter, is to get it to blend really well. We're really close to our caramel already, so I'm gonna go another minute. I'm hoping I'm not overdoing it. But what's going to happen, and this is why I like to do it all in the one container. I like to make the popcorn in it, then I'm melting the butter, I'm melting the brown sugar and everything right in the same container. And now we're going to add the popcorn, yum, to that container, and we're going to just mix it up in there. Once I've added the popcorn and kind of stirred it up a little bit, I'm just a little concerned, so we're bubbling pretty good, so we might not go the whole minute here. Once we add the popcorn back into it and get it all stirred up, then we put it back in for about a minute. Okay, so we're gonna put it back in for about a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and stop. Now you can see here how it's bubbling a lot. Hopefully you can see that. So what I do then is sprinkle this baking soda in here. Oops, I dribbled just a little bit, so I'm gonna put just a couple more there. Okay. Now what you're gonna have now is it starts to lighten. I wonder if I can come over here where you can see it better. It starts to lighten and it gets kind of foamy looking. But you gotta kind of whip it to make sure that it's foaming up for you. And you can see it's now a lighter color, and that means it's made our caramel. So now we are ready to put our popcorn in. Ooh. And again, I just love using these silicone mats. You know, even the new one we have this year, it's so great. This one with the little rim on it can be real helpful when you're doing things like almond bark and things like that. Having that little rim on the edge will probably help. When you do Oreo bark, peppermint bark, you know, people pay a ton of money for things like, you know, the Pringles curly potato chips. They pay a ton of money to get those like half dipped in chocolate at the store. You can buy them at like gourmet candy stores, and it's because it just seems so crazy because you can do that so quick and so easy on your own. Just like we did the pretzel rods, you can do that so quick and so easy on your own. So I know that a lot of people will put this in a brown paper bag and shake it up in the brown paper bag. I just have a personal issue with that. I just learned when I lived in Florida, I learned about keeping paper products in cardboard boxes. You know, that the bugs can some of the bugs can live their whole life off the glue on those boxes and bags. So it's like, okay, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So I can't make myself put it in a brown paper bag because it just kind of grosses me out. But I know a lot of you do, and that's absolutely fine. Everybody has to find their own way. But again, like I said, I just like to keep it all in one container in one place. So I'm going to pop this back in. I'm probably just going to go about 30 seconds because this is just running really hot today. I'm going to run about 30 seconds and then one last stir before we pop it out onto our silicone mat here. So that is that one. Let me see, what else was I going to do? Well, I thought about making peanut brittle, but now I'm a little worried doing that in front of y'all because the peanut brittle is even more sensitive, and I'm like so afraid that it is going to overdo it. But if you really would like to see it, I mean, I'm happy to do that for you if you guys tell me that you really, really want to see it. Okay, popcorn is done. That last little bit, everything looks pretty coated, really soft and easy to move. And we're going to go ahead and just put it out here on our silicone mat. And I love our spatulas because they get all the ooey gooey sticky stuff out and everything is done. And this is like, you know, a fair amount of sugar. So it is, the cleanup is just a breeze. And this is basically all you have to clean up. And a measuring cup and a couple measuring spoons, right? That's about all. So once it sits out for just a little bit, I like to get it as flat as I can. That made a pretty big batch when it cooks every kernel. That's a big difference I'm seeing, because I've not had it where it cooked every kernel before. Lots of times I'm trying to pick out the old maids, the unpopped ones, because I don't want somebody to bite into them, but it looked like it popped everything here. So it's going to be really, really yummy. So that is actually done. So, moving it around. Okay. So let me see. I think, is there anything else you'd like to see? Let me see if you made any comments. Peanut brittle, please. Oh, Teresa, really? Okay, I'll do it. Yes, we can learn through my mistakes. Oh, yeah, I know you didn't say that. I said that. Okay, so let me find my peanut brittle. And oh my gosh, this one has a recipe in here that uses, I think it's saltine crackers. It's kind of like crack. Because like once you start eating it, you can't really stop. So let me see. Let me just tell you what's in here while I'm looking for it. Coconut almond clusters, brownie brittle, candied nuts, caramel bites, Christmas candy, classic caramel corn, which is kind of what I did, except this is kind of double what I already did. And you could see what I did, filled that whole silicone mat. So I like to use those quantities instead. Easy chocolate fudge, indulgent truffles. There's peanut brittle. Some of the other things, these peanut butter bites are in here. Peppermint cookies, pumpkin seed brittle, salty caramel brittle. That's the crack. And tuppy chow, which is like your puppy chow. I use Crispits. It tells you to get corn or rice cereal. I use Crispits because they have corn and rice, corn on one side, rice on the other, and they're my favorite for when I do the puppy chow, or they call it tuppy chow in here. This is the salty caramel one where you use the saltines and you kind of make, you use some butter, brown sugar, regular sugar. You use some heavy cream, some almond or vanilla extract, and a little bit of kosher salt. And it, when I've done this, it works. I mean, you can do it on a silicone mat, or I've done it in the snack store. But I will tell you that it is addicting. It is crack. I swear to God it is. So, okay, so we're going to do the peanut brittle. So we're going to start with a stick of unsalted butter. So I got to go find some more butter. Sweet cream butter. Butter. Okay. So, now I haven't done this one yet this year. So we're going to start with our stick of butter. And this is the actual recipe that I'm going to be doing here right now. This is, I don't think the one that I usually use, but we'll make it work, okay? So place the butter, the sugar, and the honey in the Tupperware stack cooker. Now, it is telling me to use it in the 1 3/4 quart, but you know what? I already have the 3-quart dirty. I don't like to do dishes, so I'm gonna use it in that one. And let me see, then we got a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. So we'll pull the sugar out. And it was a 1/2 cup. Yes, there we go. So I have my sugar now in a rectangle too. I think it was in a square 4 at the other house. I had pull-out drawers in the other house, so it made it really easy for keeping all my baking stuff. This is the advantage to using when people like to scoop instead of pour. This is really great to, because you can flatten it off and any excess just goes right back down in there. So there we go. And it's telling me to add a little bit of honey, a 1/4 cup. I don't know that I'm going to use that much, but I'll put a little bit in. I do have everything in this kitchen, I swear. It's just we're finding it. You know, you get so used to where you've had things for a while. Okay, that's a 1/4 cup or an 1/8 of a cup, or that's part of it anyway. Okay, put that aside. And we are going to put it in the microwave on high for 2 minutes. And does it say cover? No, it does not. So we're not going to. And I will check it after a minute just to see. This one is a little bit different than the one I did before. but we'll mix it all well. Mix it until there's a smooth mixture. I'm gonna need some baking soda again, I would think. This one doesn't call for baking soda. Cup of unsalted peanuts. Well, I do have those ready. I use Spanish raw peanuts for this because I think that makes the best. But like I said, this is a different recipe than I usually use. It's just what I have out. So we'll just see how it works, right? So there's my, oh, that's the wrong measuring cup. I used it. It's on the drain rack. Okay. So I guess I'm going to need a little bit more. See, guys, you know, if I can do all this, you can do all this too. Because you don't have to be a rock star, you just have to do it. So we're going to melt this, get a good mixture going. We're going to add the peanuts and microwave it a little bit longer. It's making noise. We're going to stop it. I'm just going to stir this. You see it's starting to blend together. Chip top on. Did you make chocolate in the candy mold? Yes, I did do some of that. As soon as I pop this back in the microwave, I will show you a couple of the little treats that I made. I will. I just want to get this stirred and put it back in for the rest of the time here. In the candy mold, I took like some of these little eyeballs, like you can see right here. Whoops! Okay, that one's gone. There's a dog. They're little eyeballs. And like in this mold, there's this one that pops up a little bit. So I just put that in with the eyeball down. Now when I added and kind of tried to get the air out of the chocolate when I put it in, some of them moved around a little bit. But that gives you an idea of what it looks like. And then this eyeball went around to the side. And where's the other one? There was another one in here. There's another eyeball on the side. There's a half an eyeball. Some of them just moved around a little bit. All these are just the little candy melts. The little candy melts like you get at the store. You can get these at anywhere from Walmart to Target to Hobby Lobby, Michael's, all of those kind of places. And oh, there's one with two eyes. So I just put them down in there, and I got different colors. I got some orange ones, some yellow ones, some green ones. So I had a little variety of the colors that I used, and I kind of got those colors just for Halloween. Then they also I did some where I melted the peppermint ones. And the peppermint ones, I just put the whole thing in. But now I've learned from some other people, you know, how we share, that's what always makes it better. So where I could put some peppermint in and then finish it off with dark chocolate. And that would probably taste pretty yummy, right? Who doesn't like peppermint and chocolate? Well, my daughter, she doesn't like peppermint, but most people like that kind of stuff, so. Okay, and you see how I kind of have to whip it kind of quick? Because otherwise it can, you gotta get the butter to mix in with everything. So now it makes a real nice smooth batter. And I'm going to add the peanuts and microwave on high for 2 minutes. So I'm adding the peanuts. It doesn't say to stir, but I'm gonna. We're going to put the peanuts in with it, and we're going to put it in for 2 more minutes. And I need to get another silicone mat out. I have so many silicone mats. Do you guys know the best way? This is the old style that we had, but it still works really, really good. That's one of those benefits of Tupperware, right? What works really good for storing these is an empty paper towel holder. Just roll it right up. It fits right in here. It makes it easy storage. Keeps everything keeps them all together, so they're pretty easy to pull out and roll. And yes, I will post all the recipes that I'm doing. I'm going to post this little booklet. There's 4 to a page, And so you can just copy them the way they are, cut them into 4s, and you've got 4 little booklets that you can use for really great gifts for people that come to your candy class, or you can use it as a bribe for a host. I also talked about copying it onto cardstock, front to back, you know, double-sided, and then you can just put punch a hole in it and put a keychain through it, and that makes a really awesome little gift. So we're going to it says put it on a baking sheet lined with the silicone mat, which if we had another one with the rim, I would use that, but this way we're going to just pour it out right on here. Looks like I do need some vanilla. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And I keep my vanilla, do you guys remember these? This was in the last fundraiser catalog, and I keep my vanilla in this little one. So it's quick and easy, accessible. And how much am I doing? A teaspoon. This one's my teaspoon. Yes. So now, you know, with the Tupperware, with our measuring cups and measuring spoons have been recognized by Better Homes and Gardens as like the most accurate measurements. And what I love here is I can put that on the counter and I can pour my vanilla into it, and it's just gonna sit right there. And then when I'm ready, I can put my finger underneath it, pick it up, and throw it into my batch here. So let me see if, ooh, we are bubbling really well. Check that out. Is that, oh, I know you're probably drooling because you're thinking, gosh, I wish I was there and I could have some of that, because it makes sense that you would want to. Okay, so those are my 2 minutes on high power, and now I need to add the vanilla. And then it says carefully whisk, mixture will be boiling. It is boiling. And I'm supposed to sprinkle some salt on it, my kosher salt on it. So that is pretty well. This is a different recipe than what I usually use. Mine would be sticking to the bottom here by now. So, and it would be much more foamy, and it would be tough to spread out. So I'm kind of anxious to see if I like this one as well as my regular recipe. And I'll give you my regular recipe too, even though that's not the one we're making here today. Wow, this is weird, because usually it's real foamy and bubbly up and down, and this one is not working that way. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll have to come back on and do my recipe after I go find it. But it wants some kosher salt. So I keep my kosher salt in a round 2 with the little shaker. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of salt on it, and voila, that one is done too. So these candies are just, they're so easy and they're so yummy. So make sure that you take advantage of playing with them. Do you want to see me do this? I can do this. I can put in, okay, I've got white in there right now. Let's go with some peppermint. Let's do that peppermint and chocolate idea, because I think that might be kind of fun. So, okay, that kills that one. I'm going to put this in and melt it down. Remember the 50% power. I got to remember the 50% power. I don't even want to put it in that long. Let's go 30 seconds at power level 5. Okay, and then we'll stir that one up and check it out. Okay, now, can I bring this one back over to you without spilling it? Want to show you, this comes out like a big piece, right? So you can grab just a big piece. But what you'll find is it breaks up really nice and easy, very crispy. And I know you want to watch me test my product like Cheryl does. Well, Cheryl takes a little teeny tiny piece, and I'd rather put a handful in, but then I wouldn't be able to talk to you. So we'll refrain from doing that at the moment, okay? But see how it crumbles right up, and it just works so great. So it's nice to just break it up into, you know, I know when you go places, don't you always want to try to look for the one with the most goo on it? I sure do anyway. So, okay, I'm going to move this back over. Now again, you're going to look at it, and it doesn't look like it's changed shape at all. But the big difference is that once you start mixing it, you see how it's breaking down? So it is melting. It just doesn't look like it. And that's what you're gonna find when you're using any of your like your almond bark, any of your almond bark. It just doesn't look like it's breaking down, but it is. So we're gonna go maybe another 30 seconds here. I'm learning how to use my microwave. I'm kidding. I've already been using it. Another piece, just right for my mouth. Okay, so we have made, now this recipe says, you know what this would be great with? That rectangle silicone form. I wonder where mine is. The rectangle silicone form would be perfect for your peanut brittle. It does actually say to refrigerate it. This recipe does. The recipes I've used before do not say to refrigerate it, but this one does say to refrigerate it, which would probably help it set up a little bit quicker. So like if you're at a party and you wanted to do it earlier in the party, oh goodness, look at that now. Can you see? Okay, perfect. So we're gonna, let me see. How about if we do it in this one? Oh, that's probably in your way and you can't see. And that's too much. This is where it gets, you know, you got to kind of play with it a little bit. So I'm going to try to just put a little bit less in. Okay. You're not supposed to lick your fingers, but I did because it's so good. All right, so we're going to put some more over here. What I want to try to do is make it low enough that I can put that little bit of chocolate in on top. So I'm going to do some of it with this one and this one. So these are going to be peppermint chocolate, and we're going to use some dark chocolate almond bark for making the rest of these. You could probably use a little spoon, a little fork. You could probably use one of your measuring spoons in reality if you don't have this little spatula. But I wanted to make sure when this came out, I earned that little spatula, because I'll tell you what, I just knew that it would be perfect for making these candies, and it really, really is. Now you want to make sure that you let people know that this product, these materials, are made from a very durable composite, and it has been improved over and over through the last few years, and they have it perfect now. This isn't anything that's going to leach any chemicals into, you know, everybody worries about the microwave or this or that. This isn't going to leach any chemicals into their food. All of these products, all of our Tupperware products, we use European safety standards, which are much more stringent than here in the U.S. And I'm not real sure how it is in Canada, but I will tell you that the rules in Europe are much more than ours. So we just want to make sure that we help people understand the difference in the plastics. The styrofoam is the worst thing they can reheat food in. Oh goodness, I got a little bit more in here. We just want to let them know that this has been used and tested. Tupperware products go through extreme testing before they're ever released out to the market. I mean, I remember like the MicroPro grill. I think I had a prototype for 2 or 3 years before it even came out, because we were using it to test it to let them know where we maybe had some challenges with it or some questions about working with it before it actually came out. So that is just really great. Okay. I mean, isn't that like one of the greatest products you've ever had, is that MicroPro grill? I mean, everything that it can do for you. Oh, I could use a piping bag. Sure, if I knew where that was, you're right. I probably could. If I was still in my house in Minnesota, I could tell you exactly where that is. My house here, since I've moved, I haven't found it yet. Okay, so these are just a couple of chocolate almond bark, just a couple of the bricks. And we're gonna pop these in, and we're gonna again do our 30 seconds at power level 5. And then check it and stir it again. So is this starting to set up a little bit? Oh, it is, you guys. You're probably gonna get to see me. Yummy! Oh my gosh, does that look like heaven in your mouth? Do any of you love peanut brittle the way I do? Or the caramel corn the way I do? It is like so good. So I can make up all these little candies. And you know, this was full when I went to Rally last week when I was giving them the different ideas. But it's just so fun. These clearly elegant bowls are so beautiful. And then I also kept some of we had a little special on the little orange bowls with the sparkles. So I kept some of those out, and I have some that I can use for my neighbors for our upcoming, or what I might do with it is let people that come to see how that's still solid chocolate. So, what will you store it in? What will I store which one in? The peanut brittle? Or any of them. They just need to be in an airtight container. So whether you're keeping them in like your, I know one of the ideas people got, you know, the Charlie Brown canisters that are the holiday ones right now. Well, you could keep them in there, and like the big one you give to the person you like a lot, the little one you give to the person you like the least, and then you can kind of split the rest up between the others, right? So you could, or you could do different layers. You could have your, maybe some of the candies in the top. Maybe you're going to put some of the caramel corn in the middle. Maybe some peanut brittle in the bottom. Ooh, and then we'd have to come up. You know what you can do? Pop some popcorn and then drizzle the chocolate over it. Okay, it's almost ready. So I'm just going to go just a teeny bit longer just to finish those last couple chunks. And then we're going to put that in on top of the peppermint that we have out here. What was I just saying? Well, you can actually store any of the bowls. Some of them were doing, I know, I was telling you about the popcorn. Yes, okay, the popcorn. So you can make some popcorn just like I did. You know, a third of the cup of just the kernels, nothing else with it. Oh, that's completely melted. Okay, a third of the cup with just the kernels in it. And put it in the microwave for 3 minutes on high, and then you want to listen to that last minute. And as the popping really slows down, you want to stop it because you want to make sure that you're not burning your popcorn, right? And because I had my popcorn in the freezer this time, every kernel popped, and I didn't have to worry about any of the unpopped kernels, or what they call old maids. I didn't have to worry about taking those out because I always worry about somebody breaking a tooth on them, because that's happened in my family before. So just wanted to share that. But you could just lay the popcorn out on your silicone mat. And, oops, too much there. Hey, stop it. You could put the popcorn on your silicone mat. You could drizzle like this chocolate all over it. You could put some of those funky eyes here and there. You could put some of the candy corn in with it. You could put some nuts in with it. And you could just make some crazy corn, which would just be kind of fun. Yeah, the Charlie Brown canisters would be like such a treat for those. Okay, all I'm doing is putting the chocolate right on top of the peppermint. So we're going to have it, it's going to look pretty when we're done. But this was just 2 bars. So make sure when you're melting your almond bark, you got to make sure you look at it and you got to stir it every time you put it in and stop it. So there's no magic to this. I will tell you too, oh my gosh, these are the easiest things to clean. All of these are. I've done so many of these different molds, and they're all just so easy to clean, and they're the stuff you make in them, oh my goodness, they're so good. Which one? Anybody needs some more? And you see I'm leaving little swirlies all over it. That will just melt and come right off. No problem. Okay, so I showed you how the caramel corn broke up after it was done. I'm just going to put this over the bat for now. Remember we did our green eggs, or our eggs and bacon and our green eggs and ham. I recommend Melba toast for the bottom of these, but those are our eggs and bacon. like I said, you could do the popcorn and you could drizzle the different chocolates over the top. You could have some dark chocolate, some light chocolate. You can make zebra popcorn like that, or you can just decorate. This is just a pretzel log and I put just some candies on top of it. So that's nice and yummy. And then again, using the silicone form, and I would say that rectangle form would be the best. And then we've got our homemade turtles. So that's where we took a twisty pretzel like this, the ones that look like this, and we took those and we melted a Rolo, which is the caramel inside chocolate, the Rolo candy. Whoops. Well, they look like this. They look like this. And I put that on top of the pretzel. You can microwave it or put it in the oven for just a little bit to let it melt. And then you just press a half of a pecan half right in there. Freezing the popcorn. Yes, it did. I didn't know that it did that. Cheryl had mentioned that if you keep your popcorn in the freezer, every kernel pops. And oh my gosh, it really did. We don't have any unpopped kernels in this batch that we did. Every kernel popped. Every kernel popped. So, and I just keep breaking it up. And then I'm going to be snacking on this a little bit later. Maybe we'll watch a movie tonight and have a cocktail. But anyway, so yeah, I haven't found any unpopped kernels. Now there's 2 or 3 that I saw that are those partial popped, but like those are my favorite when I'm eating just plain popcorn. So I'm sure it'll be fine in here. So there's no kernels that are unpopped in this whole batch. So again, I did 1/3 cup of popcorn into the 3/4 of the stack cooker. I did not add any butter, any oil, nothing, just the kernels. It makes like air popped popcorn and works out great. It just, you put it in for 3 minutes on high, but you listen. So when they're slowing down, you make sure you stop. So these will come out. They'll be part chocolate and part peppermint. So I'll take a picture and show you those. This is still a little bit, needs to harden a little bit more. So this is our peanut brittle. And once it hardens, then I'll break it apart. And it's not quite, it's still kind of warm. So it's not where I can break it apart for you yet. But hopefully I've given you a few ideas, and don't forget using some of these other molds for different things like I did. In case you got on late, I made some Reese. All that was making them like Rice Krispie treats, adding green. So you melt the butter, then you add your marshmallows and melt those down. Then you add some green food coloring, and then you add corn flakes. And all I did was press them into the donut silicone form, and now I have these perfectly round Reese, and I can use my decorator pen, or I can use some Red Hots, or I can use some red licorice and make them look like a little holly wreath. So that's kind of fun. I always do it in the gel ring mold, but when I saw the donut mold, I thought, oh my gosh, that'll make it great. And I can, when I do my cookies that I can take around to some of my neighbors, I can add one of these on it, and I'll tell them it's decoration, because I used old marshmallows just to make it up in the little mold, just so I could show the idea. So let me see, what else do you want to know? I think that's everything. You want to make sure that you keep all your baking goods in Modular Mates. I use a lot of rectangle 4s because I put all my different bags and things inside. So my different candies, these are my cake sticks, you know, so you can make cake pops, where you make the cake into balls, and then you dip them in the chocolate. So that works. But I keep everything in like the Rec 4s. You can see that these pretzels work, the logs, they work great in an oval. This happens to be an oval 4. I have my M&Ms even in an oval, super oval 1. So I just use all the different Modular Mates that I can. With the candies, I like using the Clearly Elegant because they look so pretty, and I can show them off a little bit more that way. So hopefully I've given you a few little ideas. Again, you could just melt down just some chocolate bark. And they have things where this one is actually chocolate covered peppermint, but you can get just crushed peppermint, or you can take those Starlight mints, the peppermint. And what I do with those is I pound on them with the back of my ice cream scoop to break them up. And then I can melt my almond bark, my white almond bark. Well, I prefer white. You might prefer chocolate. My husband likes chocolate. But you break up your candies, you melt your chocolate, you mix that in, you lay it out, you've got that almond bark, peppermint bark, whatever kind of bark you want to have. I'm going to be doing a little bit more. I'm going to get some coconut out and some almonds out, and I'm going to make some little almond joys for Brian. I'm going to do it in my this little mold. This one was from the European getaway. It was our trip to Belgium. And, oh, better get that before a dog does. It was our trip to Belgium. And they make all of our silicone at that plant because that's the best quality silicone. Oh, and if you didn't already know, with our silicone, people want to know, why is ours so expensive? Because if you fold it in half and you pinch it, you'll see that it all stays the same solid color. Well, when you get those other ones, you see them at some of the lesser stores. Maybe you'll see them even like at Walmart and places like that. But if you go and you fold it, you're going to see white. A lot of them put fillers in their silicone. So it's not solid silicone. It's not quality silicone. It's got fillers in it. With our silicone, you never, ever, ever want to spray it with cooking spray. Cooking spray will ruin your silicone. So don't ever, ever, ever use cooking spray. You want to make sure that you just wash it out with soapy water. Works great. Drains easily. You do want to make sure they're dry. Like when I did my banana bread, I washed it before I put another batch in, and I didn't get it completely dry. So some of the pieces will stick in it where it wasn't completely dry. So again, I learned through my mistakes, so I can help you with that. But the quality silicone makes a huge difference. And what happens is when the banana bread comes out, it's so shiny on the bottom side. Just like when these come out of the candy mold, they're all shiny on the bottom side. That's the way they're all gonna pop out. That's the way they're all gonna look when they come out. So I've probably taken enough of your time. Hopefully you've gotten a couple tips and it will make a difference for you. So thanks for your time. Have a great rest of the weekend. Happy candy making. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.